Hello and welcome to the Limerick Agenda.
Our headlines tonight. How is the eviction ban affecting Limerick tenants?
Roadworks on O'Connell Street are causing frustration for local businesses.
And Munster looking good ahead of their weekend clash with Glasgow Warriors.
Earlier this month, the government announced they would be removing the eviction ban. The ban was put in place in October 2022 to protect tenants during the housing crisis. McDonald spoke to those affected.
Can a house really be a home when the threat of eviction is hanging over your head? Many are asking that question in recent weeks as the ban on tenant evictions, which were put in place in response to soaring prices and a chronic shortage in rental accommodation, is to be lifted at the end of the month. Popular Limerick personality Megan Scully is one of many who has been impacted by the lifting of the ban.
Last week, the dreaded letter arrived to say we are being evicted. We've been given a 6 months notice from the 31st of March, meaning the 30th of September, we have to be ready and gone out to the apartment. When we got the letter, I took a look online, and on Daft, there were only 7 rentals in Limerick at the time. So many people are getting these eviction letters. I think there is going to be a huge backlash on the government.
On the UL campus, students shared their thoughts on the lifting of the ban.
I don't think it's right for people that rent, but other than that, I think it's not really good for Ireland.
It just is a lack of security for people if that's lifted.
Green Party councillor Sasha Novak-Juncker gave her thoughts on the lifting of the ban. She noted that ideally there would be more solutions to the housing situation and that landlords do not want to give eviction notices to their tenants. A spokesperson for the Residential Tenancies Board noted that even with no eviction ban in place, minimum notice periods are still required. For more information, go to the RTB website.
So, if you were handed an eviction notice today in Limerick, there would only be 6 properties available to rent on daft.ie. So only time will tell what effect the lifting of the eviction ban will have across Ireland, but one thing's for sure, worry among tenants is rising. And McDonald, the Limerick Agenda.
The sight of diggers and cranes have become a familiar one in the city centre in the last number of years, as major redevelopment plans on O'Connell Street continue. Cillian O'Callaghan spoke to local businesses to see how the work is affecting them.
It used to be the hustle and bustle of commerce, but these days O'Connell Street seems more about the rattle of drills and dump trucks. The works going on today started back in April 2021. Almost 2 years later, the city is still under construction. Local businesses here are increasingly concerned that what was supposed to finish last November still has no end in sight.
The original concept was the fashion, and that has not happened. And and from us directly, that has certainly made people coming into town, stop them coming into town. Now, if we have a big launch when this is finished, and sort of say, look at our new city, it might be a positive aspect. But I've made inquiries in recent weeks about that, and I'm not getting any feedback that, it's over, the curtains are coming up, we're unveiling the new city or something, and I'd like to see something like that happening,
The worries about delays are a problem for established businesses then, but even more so for up-and-comers such as health and lifestyle outlet Duo, who opened their Sarsfield Street premises just prior to construction.
Been in business in Limerick the last 5 years, and people have always talked about how town is at odds with like the Crescent and Castle Troy and everything, and that's always been like a big issue for Limerick City, is like the urban sprawl and how all of that's going. But I think the roadworks just really put the nail in that coffin of why would you come into town, have to deal with all this traffic, sit in traffic for I don't know how long, parking taken up and everything like this, and then it's so easy to go into the Crescent and you can just avoid town altogether and go on the outskirts.
We asked Limerick City and County Council to get clarity on the completion date, but they gave us no comment. The roadworks are expected to be done by St Patrick's Day, but as the past weekend has proven, that was not the case. With a 15% increase in workforce, here's hoping they meet the next deadline. Cillian O'Callaghan, the Limerick Agenda.
Now, Limerick is known for its vibrant nightlife and pub scene, but concerns are being raised that some bars are implementing rules stopping under 23s from entering after 9 p.m. Alison Mueller took to the streets this week to find out more.
As the sun begins to set here in Limerick City, the bars begin to get ready for a night of chaos. Limerick City is known for its vibrant nightlife and bustling entertainment scene, But for some young adults under the age of 23, the party is ending earlier than they would like.
It does limit like where we're allowed to go, and you know, because some of the good places they're over 20s as well, so it's a bit annoying. But sure, if you have to prink a bit more, I think, you know, knowing that you might get in or whatever.
Some places that are a bit more fancier, they can be a bit more strict on like the 21, 23s.
They want students, so they come like
they just
over
want
23
adults.
or over 25, whatever. Yeah.
Like, you're a bit disappointed because like you put so much effort into going out.
You've dressed up, you've paid for a taxi in, and then they're like, okay, bye, and you're like, okay, we'll go back to the house.
They rarely give a good reason. They're like,
exactly. It's just no and nothing else.
Several pubs and clubs in the city have implemented a new policy of turning away people under the age of 23 after a certain time. The policy has sparked a lot of debate. Some argue it is unfair to those who just want a place to socialise. Others say it is indicative to the lack of planning when it comes to the nightlife in the city generally.
We lose a lot of our top DJs and top producers to other countries that have better structure in their nightlife. And so with some more positive changes in our nightlife structure, then maybe we can keep on to these, like, you know, better DJs, better producers, and all around have a healthier scene, because then there's more young people who get to go see these guys play. If we were to make it 23s, we'd lose out on so much of our kind of potential customs.
For now, however, the law remains in place, leaving some young adults feeling excluded from the city's nightlife, left wondering if they will ever be able to enjoy a night out with their friends without being turned away at the door.
The Munster Rugby squad are gearing up towards a massive clash in the United Rugby Championship on Saturday evening against Glasgow Warriors. Our reporter, Sean Holland, has more.
Keeping the home fires burning, or could they be out of fuel? Munster are facing one of their biggest tests of the year, a Glasgow side that are in fine late season form, having only lost once in their last 12 games. With a potential home quarter-final at stake, this game will be a defining moment in both these teams' seasons. Munster coach Tommy O'Donnell was quietly confident when we spoke earlier this week.
They're going to be tough. They're playing some really good rugby. They're doing some really good things around their forward pack. So, you know, they're never easily beat. Be interested in playing them this time of the season. Normally we play them early in the season, or, you know, in and around Christmas time. So it'll be interesting to see what they bring, especially how Scotland have gone in Six Nations. You know, there'll be a few guys there keen to get back to their club and play games. So it'll be very interesting. Expecting a good crowd when the Six Nations is over. Expecting a good crowd to come out for our last game of the season. Hopefully not our last. Hopefully we can win a few more games, bring home a home quarter-final or playoffs then as well for the URC.
Pundits are agreed that Glasgow are probably the biggest test Munster will face for the remainder of the season.
Munster have won 7 of their last 8 to put themselves in this position. So when you're on that kind of a run, if you were to kind of trip up now, it really does kind of feel like if they were to lose momentum now, given what's in front of them in April, it could be crucial, you know? It's a huge test, and we know that Glasgow play a very attacking style of rugby. It's, if anything, like when you're coming back into this period now, this is just the kind of match you want. You know, it shapes to be an absolute kind of cracker.
Come 5:30 on Saturday, this place behind me will be full of Munster fans donning their red hats, scarves and flags. The game on Saturday could be the difference between this season's overall success. One thing is for certain though, it should be an absolute classic. Now, back to Matthew in the studio.
Well, that's interesting. So, Sadbh, what a weekend it was for Irish rugby.
Yeah, it was incredible. They didn't have the best of first halves, but they kind of came out in the second half, all guns blazing. Johnny Sexton got the #1 point score in the Six Nations as well, overtaking Ronan O'Gara. And yeah, it was just fantastic to see like history kind of unfold.
And going forward, I suppose, what does that mean for Munster ahead of their game on Saturday?
Yeah, so they're going to be missing Peter O'Mahony and Conor Murray this weekend because they're on a down week, but they're gaining Tom Ahern and Mike Haley from injury, and then Ben Healy's coming back as well from the Scottish camp. He got his first cap at the weekend, so yeah, he's going to be a benefit to them as well.
Thank you, Sadbh. Back to you, Aisling.
Thank you, Matthew. A 5k charity run is coming to UL this Thursday. The event is being organised by the second year sports science students at the University of Limerick. Money raised will go towards Rape Crisis Midwest and Jigsaw. Sadbh Redmond has more.
Get off that couch and get the trackies on, all for a good cause. The UL 5k colour run takes place on the 23rd of March and anticipation is running high. It starts off in black and white, but the colour builds during the race. Organisers are hoping this year's event will be the biggest one yet.
Aiming to start the event on the track just behind us here, and then we're going to take everyone around campus and hopefully finish on the Brown Thomas Plaza before our after party in Stables. Then on the day you'll automatically be entered into a raffle to win, I believe it's a signed Kerry jersey, but there's also 2 one-semester UL gym memberships going, and you'll have the opportunity to speak with one of our guest speakers who is a UL alumni and 2-time Olympian.
The race is in honour of Jacinta O'Brien, who was a former member of staff at UL and was an advocate for healthy and active living. This event tries to encapsulate all these properties.
Well, we created a load of social accounts and advertised our prizes and the race itself all over those, as well as doing a little fundraising thing in the courtyard where we did get a good few donations and people signed up.
Charity Week isn't all about socialising, and this run is a great way to get some extra physical activity done. The UL campus will be filled with bright colours and colourful runners for this 5k. What better way to enjoy a run than getting covered in chalk and supporting 2 fantastic charities? The race begins at 7:30 on Thursday 23rd at the UL running track.
We've all heard of dodgy student housing, but one Castletroy student has been left in a particularly dire situation after a horde of mice took over his home. Gough has more.
Partying rodents have been frustrating the residents of student estates with their all-night, cheese-fueled parties and raves. Michael Cooke, a Castletroy resident and a student of University of Limerick, has voiced his concerns on social media in a video shared widely by locals.
This is joke. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. The mice in my attic have been partying since 8 and it's still going on. Listen.
Some bang off these yokes. Lads. Somebody throw on quiz on.
Under condition of anonymity, a local source told us she regularly sees the sale and consumption of cheese-shaped ecstasy pills in broad daylight. The following photos and recordings were provided exclusively to the Limerick Agenda.
Jody, man.
What's happening?
€50 there, yeah?
Nice one. Good luck.
Now, using state-of-the-art technology, the Limerick Agenda has digitally recreated the chaotic events inside of the rave house. The property owner and An Garda Síochána were contacted by the Limerick Agenda, but declined to comment or provide a solution. For now, the party raves on. Gough, the Limerick Agenda.
And before we go, the headlines again.
How is the eviction ban affecting Limerick tenants?
Roadworks on O'Connell Street are causing frustration for local businesses.
And Munster looking good ahead of their weekend clash with Glasgow Warriors.
That's all from the newsroom.
Have a good evening.
Job done.